Hello, this is the Below the Trees podcast. Welcome to another episode. We break down some pretty good topics. We touch a lot of things. I don't even really fully remember everything we talk about. But we really try to tap into humanity and what it all means. And I think today's episode ended on a really positive note. So, take that for what it is. I hope you enjoy the episode. Do all the normal YouTube things. Pull up a chair, grab some popcorn, and Below the Trees podcast.
This is the good one. Take 5.
Let's start the show. You sound like the old lady with the hole in her throat from smoking too many cigarettes.
I smoke too many cigarettes. Don't do it.
Did she smoke through the hole too?
Probably.
Fucking wild, man. How does that happen? Because she had like throat cancer or something,
Yeah.
right? And they have to. That was one of the treatments, I suppose.
Yeah.
Good God.
The experiments.
That made for an effective tool not to smoke cigarettes. For me, anyways.
It's not good to smoke cigarettes.
It's good every now and again.
Cigarettes?
Nicotine.
Or nicotine? Have you ever tried Zyn?
Nah.
Do you know what that is?
Yeah.
What would you ever try it?
No need, but I could.
Why no need? If it's just nicotine with flavoring.
Good heuristic that I like to live my life by.
Okay, talk to me.
If it's not over 3,000 years old, I'm not going to do it.
I get, but you don't smoke cigarettes, though, right?
I do smoke cigars,
Well, cigars I think are slightly different.
and the tradition of smoking tobacco, right?
Yeah,
So, yeah, I'll do that.
I think the thing about not so much cigars, but cigarettes, though, is that there's so many other carcinogens that they
Correct.
make it with. That's like, you're not just getting the straight tobacco like you
Yeah.
would cigar. But there's carcinogens smoking cigar, marijuana, right? It's less.
It's not the same thing. Like you would, I would assume, right? I would assume,
Mhm.
don't know, that if you're smoking a cigar, or when I was in Spain, if I were to smoke a cigarette, it would typically be a cigarette that I would make.
Yeah.
So I had my patch of
American Spirit.
tobacco to
Yep.
make, and I'd roll my own. I'd make my own.
Yeah.
And you know that it's just the tobacco leaf. And so the same thing with the cigar. It's just the tobacco leaf.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, in a cigarette, it's not just the tobacco leaf. There's a whole bunch of other shit.
Yeah, a bunch of
And it is like chemically
wrapped and everything.
dipped, and yeah,
Yeah.
sitting in a vat of chemical shit.
Yeah.
No thanks.
You know, it's funny. I remember going to Europe, though, and when I was in Europe, I don't really smoke. I don't even smoke cigars that often. And then back then, I didn't really smoke anything.
Yeah.
Maybe like a cigar biannually or something like that. But when I was over there, because you can smoke everywhere there, and everyone smokes cigarettes.
Yeah.
Everybody smokes cigarettes. And I remember maybe after a week of being there, I forget, I think we were just getting off the train, and people were smoking the trains, at the train stations. People are smoking constantly inside restaurants.
Yeah.
And I remember I looked at my wife, I was like, man, I could really go for a cigarette right now. I was like, God damn, a cigarette sounds so good.
Yeah.
And she didn't let me, but no cigarette smoking on that trip. But I have had in my life actual cigarettes, like not like my own roll. I've never actually rolled my own cigarette before,
Yeah.
but I've probably only had maybe like I'd say 2 cigarettes my whole life. One when I was younger and I didn't like it, and then one I had one on a trip once that same year actually.
Yeah.
So Not a huge fan. Not a huge fan. But you try to limit your smoking intake. Well, I do anyways. Gotta try to limit it.
Yeah.
But,
Everything in moderation.
especially crack. I'm just kidding.
Don't tell Hunter that. Did you watch that interview?
I watched parts of the interview. I didn't watch the whole thing. He's crazy, man.
He's gonna run for president.
He's gonna. I don't think he wins though. I don't think he gets the Democratic nomination, but he definitely the tone of the interview for sure was very much policy driven. He's talking policy. He's talking like a politician. It's kind of embarrassing actually, in the sense that, man, this guy was a pariah, and now he might actually be one of the leading candidates for president for the Democratic nomination. But I still think AOC, she's probably going to get the Dem nom in 28. And depending on like just raw politics, obviously there's a lot behind the scenes that we're not privy to, or behind the scenes we were talking about off camera, power plays and such. But if you just factor in standard politics, standard polling, I think if the economy is good, like numbers wise, and most people were reporting feeling good, I think the Republicans have a real shot at holding the presidency. Now, if the economy is shit, and those types of reports that come out, I think AOC wins 2028.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens. What would an AOC president look like?
Not good. Do you think that's why she's quiet now?
It seems like she's a lot more moderate on some certain positions, for sure. She's definitely quieter on a lot of things. And I think she has to be, right? Because the problem with the Democratic Party and running up to 2024 is pretty simple. Like, they went way too hard on certain issues that just weren't popular. Like 80-20 issues, they were running on the 20% side. I think most people look at like defund the police as a something that, like, Zohran Mamdani and others like of the Squad, and even mainstream Democrats like, supported, and some of her allies still are on that ilk, are still holding those beliefs and positions. I think Zohran Mamdani was asked about defund the police, and he basically said, yeah, my position in 2020, like, I don't regret saying any of that. Like, I'm all for it. AOC, on the other hand, she has broader aspirations to be president.
You think so?
I think so. I mean, you think about where she started. Like, she's a small representative from New York. She started really young. Her whole life is going to be now her political career. She's going to be a politician well into her 60s and 70s, I think, anyways, especially if she gets the presidential nod.
So couldn't she just be like a Feinstein, or like
maybe? Now I wonder what are the rules. So if,
Baxter?
let's say you do run for president, because she's
Pelosi?
young. Yeah, imagine she's young, right? And she gets a presidential nod. There's no rules that stop her after her presidential candidacy that she can be in the Senate, right?
Yeah, she can be there indefinitely.
Yeah, exactly.
So long as she keeps winning, she can stay.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I think her aspirations are presidential for sure.
So then, who's her running mate? Or
I don't know. That's a good question.
Is she the chair, or is she the co-chair?
What do you mean? Oh,
Is she president, or is she vice president?
No, I think she's president.
It's radical.
It's pretty radical. I think she's president.
I don't think so.
I think she's president, and then she's gonna find someone who is to her right on the left, like someone who's more moderate as a vice president. I'm calling it here first.
So like Mamdani?
No. I think she'll try to steer away from
Santos?
characters. She'll steer away from those characters, but I could see like Beto O'Rourke.
Okay.
Right? He's trying to make some sort of political comeback as well.
But you don't think he would be the front runner if that's the case?
No, that guy has built his whole legacy on losing every election he's been involved in.
Well,
I
because
think
looks
he's got
get you
no
so
chance.
far, right?
Yeah. I don't think he's got a chance to be ahead of a party, but if he can position himself as a moderate, I think that would be pretty attractive to an AOC president, for sure.
What about Bernie?
Nah,
Bernie's done.
I think Bernie's done in the sense of trying to hold high office. I think he's comfortable in the position he's in. He would have liked to have won the presidency, I'm sure.
I think the superiors of the party told him no.
Yeah, no, for sure. Absolutely, that's the case. But I think now the superiors of the party are starting to become the minority of the party. And you have the more radical left, more progressive left is the one that's shaping how the party's actually turning out. And that's why AOC is a huge candidate. And I think Bernie sees that. That's why he's flying around on the private jets everywhere, selling out
Big booty convention
big booty convention.
meetings.
Did you see that video? The big booty Latina video?
I think so.
I forget this guy's name, but he's like some conservative dude. And he's like, AOC, you're my favorite. You're my favorite big booty Latina in Congress.
Oh, I don't know what you were saying, man. Nope.
Yeah, he's just recording. He's some conservative commentator guy, but he's like, oh, AOC's his favorite big booty Latina. And so then he saw her in public and said, oh, AOC, I love your big juicy booty. Oh, big booty Latina, my favorite. And he's telling her this as she's walking by. But it affected her so much she had to make a Twitter post about it later. She was like, oh, yeah, he was harassing me, all these things. And, I wouldn't have done what he had done in public. That's just not how I am, right? But you look at the video, and she kind of mischaracterized it a little bit to make it seem like she was a victim, when in reality he's just kind of being a political shill for whatever he's doing.
He's trying to get her to create a reaction.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, he got that. And I see that.
Well, more so.
Yeah.
Like on video.
She reacted. He got a good video out of it for sure. Huh? He got a really good video out of it. But
just like baseball.
Yeah.
Taunting, heckling,
Yeah.
talking shit, talking trash.
But see, that's the part, like, AOC tries to claim she's a victim in this case. Like, she benefits just as well because now all these people flock to her.
I mean, in her defense, like, we're objectively talking about her butt.
Oh, no, for sure. I'm not saying he was right. But I think AOC would have done more for herself to not react to that stuff, because then now you're just fodder for whatever political viewpoint. Yeah. And but in politics, right? Like, there's no such thing as bad publicity, and she got a lot of publicity with that, good and bad. Sure. So it's like she took advantage of it just as much as anyone else would have. But I think it would have been more.
It's the game, bro.
Yeah, I know, but it would have been better for her to not do that personally. But whatever, it is what it is. Politics, baby. You know what I mean? It's a shitty game.
So what about Newsom and the Getty family? Are they gonna go to the presidency?
I don't think so, dude. I mean, he's gonna try.
He's already, visiting all of the main cities in Podcastistan.
But see, that's the thing too. He's tried to show himself as a moderate, and in this next election cycle. But then all you have to do is look at the last 4 years, and whether it's through COVID or whatever, through things that he's said, everything's documented, right? You have so much just video evidence of this guy speaking and just being an absolute dork. Like the whole French Laundry thing, right? Like, he will never live that down. Everyone will always remember the French Laundry incident, which, just in case you don't, it was during COVID, during lockdown, when no one's supposed to be out and about. He's at this very bougie and expensive Michelin star restaurant in NorCal called the French Laundry.
Doing business. Let's not downplay it.
What business was he doing?
He owns a winery.
Okay, fair.
And so the business is to find restaurants to sell your wine.
Fair. I'll give you that.
And I believe they sell his wine.
Yeah.
And so this is a update business meeting. He's going to check in on
Okay.
Paul's business.
That's fine. Sure. But again, it's not so much about what he was actually doing as much as the optics, right? In politics, the optics, the perception of it, that's everything in this game. And so whether if he was there on something legitimate or not is not so much a relevant question as why is he there in the first place when he's telling the rest of the state, you can't even do that, right? Unless you're an ally of sort and you get some sort of exemption, then you can't do that, right? Like Hollywood got a bunch of exemptions, where one of the
The
biggest
food industry.
food industry got a bunch of
And
exemptions.
he's part of the food industry.
Well, even in the beginning of COVID,
But you see, they don't want to disclose
yeah.
that his interest is in wine.
What do you mean they don't want to? Because that's pretty well known, I would say.
But has anybody really gone out and given you the connection to say, oh, okay, everything shuts down
Except his winery.
except the winery and the restaurants?
No, wineries were closed. This is what the crazy part is that there was an exemption made, one specific for his winery. His county didn't shut down.
Ooh.
That's why Gavin Newsom will not win the presidency. I think had he conducted himself, at least publicly, more in line with what was being presented during COVID, I think that's the crux of what's going on.
Right.
Most of the criticism toward him is how he acted and behaved. At least the perception is how he acted and behaved during COVID, and I think that's probably gonna. There's a lot of people who resent him for that,
Yeah.
whether rightly or wrongly. So and then even so, I think the Democratic voter base is just shifting more far to the left anyways. I wouldn't even say voter base. A vocal minority of Democrats are now pushing the leadership of the party.
Yeah.
And it's moving in that direction. It's moving away from the institutional, like, Democrat, like what at least Gavin Newsom is trying to portray himself to be. Now, is that popular with the broader American public? I don't think so. I think the broader American public is probably moderate on all sides, would prefer not a radical leftist nor a fucking far right lunatic, right? I think they want someone who's in the middle. But at least for the political mainstream, you get far much more success and far much more exposure when you hold one of the various radical positions, whether on the right or the left.
Yeah.
That's just the way social media incentivizes shit. I don't know, man. It's kind of shitty. But it's like, what is it? Andrew Yang, when he was running for governor, he had the most following and support on social media, but couldn't turn out voters. So it's,
Why?
Well, because I think too is that the internet isn't real in the sense that it doesn't always materialize to real results. Like you might be able to push an issue online, but not get the same reaction because your respondents aren't, the internet, how many people you have in social media, they're not necessarily representative of the actual voters who are going out there and doing these issues, right? So that's also another thing is like how much
Bot followers.
Yeah, right. That's one way. I didn't want to say it.
Elon, he's really good with computers. We did really well in Pennsylvania. Thank you, Elon.
Yeah.
No?
I don't know. Probably. But that's my point. Like, I think the Yang example when he was going up against Kathy Hochul in New York, he had significantly more following than any other candidate, and if I'm not mistaken, he even pushed the second, right? Because in real life, your online presence doesn't necessarily affect your in-person results. And sure, I'm sure some of the online traffic is bought and paid for. Why wouldn't it be? Why wouldn't you not take advantage of it? But We'll see, man. It's gonna be an interesting 2028. But the real question is, does it even fucking matter? I would say probably not.
Doesn't.
Exactly. So,
Because it's the pyramid of the movers and shakers.
yeah.
And so the movers and shakers are going to influence the pyramid from
Yeah.
the bottom up. And the top is where we see all these decisions play out.
Yeah.
That's the reality. So if you do what you got to do to get it done, whatever that means,
Yeah.
for whatever it is that you're doing,
Yeah.
you do it.
Well, see, I think this is the important note and takeaway for me about all this. Not just who the president is going to be in 2028 or who the president is now, or the banks and all these people who control our lives, whatever.
Greenbacks with
Greenbacks.
Lincoln.
Let's just put all that aside for a second. I think it's important to realize that we have zero control over that. It's going to happen whether we like it or not. Whether even if something like the population was totally educated on all these issues and we knew definitively bad shit was happening, right? It still doesn't matter, because it's going to happen whether we like it or not. Because the people who have the authority, who have the power, right? They're
Well-
going to have the authority or power regardless of what we believe or what we want, right?
Unless
what?
you go to a revolution and everyone needs to be
See,
armed.
But that's also, I would say, revolution is not possible.
Okay.
I don't think it's possible.
Have you ever heard of the the YouTube channel Alt History?
I think so. The name's familiar. I don't think I've seen any videos, or maybe I have seen videos.
We should try to get him on the pod so he
Maybe.
can argue that, because that's his argument. His argument is that we're on the precipice. We're watching what stirs what would then later become a revolution.
Yeah.
And we're the only place where it can actually really occur, because the disparities are just getting greater, right?
But are they though? Are the disparities getting greater?
Yeah,
Between who?
the rich and the poor, on the age side.
Yeah.
So if you're stuck in the 30 something, 40 something
Yeah.
year old generation, you're not given the same kind of power that 30, 40 years ago, when they were your age,
Yeah.
they had all the power. They were given the positions that they still incumbent today
Mhm.
in many cases,
Yeah.
in multiple disciplinary things. This is a generational review on just America.
Yeah.
And so assume that you're a construction guy and your head boss. He's been the head boss here, your
Yeah.
foreman, for the last 50 years.
Yeah.
And so at what point does he sit down so you can come up? That hasn't happened
Yeah.
in this cycle. And so then there's enough of a disparity
Yeah.
universally around this country where you see those. And so I'm sure you see it where you're working, where the people who are at the top are typically in their 50s, in their 60s.
Yeah.
They're almost about ready to get out, right? But maybe not yet. Maybe another decade. Maybe another 5 years,
Yeah.
right? And so then it makes the people who are 40 like kind of say, like, what about us? What are we going to do?
Yeah.
When are we going to get our turn? Because
Yeah.
we need our turn now before we're too old.
Yeah.
And so then this shift
I see. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
is part of the problem. Then you have the other part of the problem, which is the economics of it.
Yeah.
If you want to buy a house and you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s,
Yeah.
the reality is the education system has gotten so expensive that all of those people are sitting on massive amounts of debt.
Yeah.
And so you have to first pay that debt before you're realistically able to get a house.
Yeah.
And even if they look at you and say, okay, we'll give you that opportunity, there's the debt of now 2 places
Yeah.
that you owe quite a bit of money. And so
Yep.
you're now burdened to work. And it's now very difficult for you to have to put any money away.
Yeah.
The sad reality of this country, as great and awesome, as amazing as it is the fact that most of the people who live in it, most of the people who work in it, don't have more than $2,000 to cover an expense.
Yeah.
That's just the sad reality.
Yeah.
And so then how can you say that that's the best when the flip side, right, is from that not being able to afford, you have people who are able to afford insane wealth.
Yeah.
And so then that is another issue that could lead to this revolution that he's saying.
See, I'll tell you why I don't think a revolution is possible. I think all the underlying conditions you outlined right there are pretty good reasons, right? I think that the issue is despite all this unrest and despite all these things that you outlined, I just don't think the population has it in them. We are much softer than we've ever been. You know, one of the things that we talked about a lot on the pod is like hard work, right? Doing hard things, and consistently we are doing less and less hard things, and I just don't think we have it in us to do such a thing like that. You look at the people who are griping the most; they're also the people who I think are the ones who cast themselves as the greatest victims of all of this, right? And this is the point I was going to go to earlier. I think a lot of this shit's out of our control, right? A lot of this has been set in stone prior to us even being a thought, us, growing in the womb, right? A lot of this is just, we have zero control over. So I always present it like this, is if you have conditions that are already set, how do you play with those conditions? How do you play in that game? And that's the game there. That's what you have to do as individuals, figure out what you're going to do. Because sure, like all these things exist, like people are in massive amounts of debt, and I think there's some serious, like especially with education, there needs to be some serious thought put into how we need to avoid that system going forward. We have a saturation of bachelor's degrees that are fundamentally useless, and people going into debt for those degrees. It's like, hey, let's reimagine our lives for a second. And I think a lot of people who are the ones online casting their, I'm so upset and I'm bitching about these things, and casting themselves as the victims, refuse to look at any different thing other than this was all brought upon me. This is, I'm the victim here, and therefore I can do nothing about it. Well, you can do something. There's things we can't do, and there's things that we can do.
Right.
And part of me is optimistic and hoping that people figure out, hey, there are things that we can do to meaningfully shape our lives, regardless of what the greater climate is, right? But yeah, I mean, those are serious issues. But then, I mean, what is it? You look at one of the reasons why housing is so limited is just the amount of regulation that goes into building new construction. I mean, we were talking about some of it is strictly organized and orchestrated by governments, right? Whether a local or state government, and in the example of the Palisades, right? We were talking about that off camera. If you're not allowing people to build, and there's some structural reasons why you're doing that, I think that's where we need to focus on issues where we can have actually, put our feet down and actually can try to change the outcome.
That's Newsom, and that's Karen.
Good old Karen. But you see, I mean, that's my point though, man. It's like, I think there's too much energy is spent on worrying about the things that we can't fix. And we need to spend more energy on the items that we actually can have some influence over. And I think some of those areas include regulations when it comes to building houses. Why do you think, I mean, houses in Vegas are cheaper, partly because there's so much land to be developed. So whenever there's
It's a
shortage,
fucking desert.
I'm not saying it isn't.
That's
but
why.
but you see, the point still stands though. Like there's a bunch of land that can be developed when new housing needs arise, and there's less regulation over to make those buildings possible, right?
Especially when the mob moves in.
Especially when the mob moves in. But you figure L.A. I mean, L.A. is partially built out already, dude. Like, I think another rude reality that people don't want to accept is that sometimes in order to get the things you want, you're not gonna be able to have everything, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just it. Does it suck? Sure. Are you gonna be totally satisfied with that? Maybe not. But like you could buy houses.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to move somewhere you don't want to move, whether that's out of state, whether that's out of like a major metropolitan area. You got to make some decisions though. But if the house is the most important thing that you're trying to live for, there's plenty of other beautiful cities in the United States that you can move and still make your life happen.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't want to choose that, that's okay. No one's forcing you to choose that. But then you got to come with the realities like, hey, California, New York, Hawaii, like these are expensive places to live. And I think there are some stuff that shady business going on. I think there's also just the reality that all this land is already fucking bought and paid for by someone else. And we just have the unfortunate luck that we were born in a time when it was all scooped up. So I don't know if that's not necessarily a good or bad thing. That's just a reality. But I don't know if it's going to cause revolution, though. I just don't think it's going to happen.
Just like how it seems to be, the typical wealth scale in comparison to CEO pay, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you get an employee at one of these companies,
Yeah.
and a good paying job is something that's in the neighborhood of 100 to maybe 200. That's a good paying job in the private world.
Yeah.
Or corporate world, rather. Not private, in the corporate world.
Yeah.
Whereas the CEO of that same company
Yeah.
could be making $20 million.
Yeah.
And so that extreme difference is partially part of what could be the undercurrent to cause people to say, wait a minute, that's not right. And we need to change that. And so how do we change that?
Yeah.
And that's what leads into...
That thought process.
Exactly. And that takes time.
Yeah.
It's not like it's going to happen tomorrow. But you saw it with the jab, how immediately when we say there is a problem that we need to solve, we can get everybody to conform.
Yeah.
And how does that play out? Media, the news cycle, social media,
Yeah.
newspapers, radio, everybody's talking about it. And so
Yeah.
if enough people start realizing that this is the disparity and there's really a few ways to attack that, maybe it's the killing in New York or the killing of the other CEO that are the first pieces showing you this is where we should be going, irregardless of what media says.
Yeah.
That's part of the line of thinking. And
I guess it's interesting to me that the people who are most conforming to the jab are the ones who their political leanings are the ones who are against all these CEOs. They're the ones who conform the most. Most of the people who I think were contending against the jab from the onset were fucking libertarians, conservatives, things like that. And it's just funny to me how the ones who conform the most are generally the ones who fucking praise the death, the murder of the United Health CEO or the Blackstone CEOs, which is kind of crazy to me. When I think, and if you shape any public emergency, that they'll follow right in line.
But that's what, when you take socialism to the extreme, like that's what you get.
Yeah.
If you take socialism all the way, as far, far left as you can, you get communism.
Yeah.
And the extreme version of communism is the Gulag,
Yeah.
the Bolsheviks. And these are very violent revolutionaries.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's...
But I just don't think the modern left has it. And
But-
even if you look at the most revolutions, right? It's all the young people. I think the young people are the ones who, you know, they're the ones who follow this agenda to a T. And I think they're the most conforming of anyone. They'll follow, just like the radical nutty right. They believe every single conspiracy theory, every single one. I think the radical left does the same thing. There it is. There it is. But we'll see, man. I mean, I could be totally wrong, right? I mean, I think that, like we talked about, the underlying conditions aren't good, right? If perception-wise, anyways, as well. Like, if people are frustrated that all these CEOs are making a lot more money than they are, and they're seemingly getting left behind, I guess my opinion is, even despite those perceptions or the reality that you see and you deal with, it's like no one's going to come save you. No revolution is going to save anyone. Because if a revolution happens, right, there's still going to be a consolidation of power. And those people are, the people who are being fucking victims now are probably going to get left behind in that system too. And so there's no, if you don't have the mindset that you're going to take control of your own life now, what makes any revolution going to be different? Yes, you're maybe part of part of this uprising or whatever the case may be, but what kind of life are you going to live even after? So that's my point.
True or false? True or false?
All right, hit me.
And I'm going to try to be as clear as I can be.
Uh-oh. That's how I know it's
I'm
clear
trying
as mud.
I'm trying to talk like Gavin Newsom. There's going to be some development.
I got to work on a Gavin Newsom impression.
True or false?
Okay, hit me.
Is there a war going on in Ukraine and Russia?
Yes, true.
Is there a war going on in Gaza and Israel?
True.
Was there kind of a war? Maybe a 3-day war between Israel, the United States, and Iran?
True.
Is there kind of a war with Israel and Syria?
True.
Is there kind of a war with Israel and Lebanon?
True.
So there's kind of a bunch of little wars going on
Yeah.
at this current moment on the planet. True or false?
True.
So, we've been fed this propaganda
Uh-huh.
by, and I say this cautiously,
Okay.
but there was a movie that was like called Revolution or something that was like about an American revolution.
I don't, an older movie or a new
No,
movie?
like pretty recent, 2024, 2025. No?
No, not that I can remember. Revolution, maybe. Are you thinking of that one war movie? Is it a war movie?
You don't know what I'm talking about?
I don't know what you're talking about.
There was a movie. Might help if I put movie. Civil War.
Oh, Civil War. Yeah, yeah.
2024 movie Civil War.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
Why are they doing that? What is that about? 4 journalists travel across the United States during a nationwide conflict.
I didn't see the movie.
I didn't either, but it's... Who did it?
I forget his name. Who's the director?
Alex Garland.
Oh, yeah, Alex Garland.
Alex Garland.
I think he's a Brit.
He's British, eh?
I think. You have to quote me on that. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah, he's a Brit.
Yeah. I think he did 28 Years Later, which...
Ex Machina, Warfare,
Yeah.
28 Years Later, 28 Days Later, Annihilation, Men, 28 Weeks Later, 28 Years Later, Dread, The Beach.
The Beach.
Interesting. I'm just saying, like, that is going on in media, and I know we've always had violence in movies. Like, that's part of the American cinema.
Yeah.
And we're actually at war. Like we were in Iraq, like we were in Afghanistan. Like it's the same sort of climate in that sense.
I mean, that doesn't shock me. Only because movies come out all the time.
But there's also the biggest wealth transfer the world's ever seen.
Yeah.
Happening.
Okay.
That is happening.
Okay.
And so you're getting little embers that might start flames.
We'll see, man. I don't see it happening. I don't think we have it in us, man. And I say that pessimistically. It makes me sad that even if we wanted to revolt, that I don't think we have it in us.
And you say we don't have it in us. What does that actually mean? What does that mean?
I mean, just look at the culture, right?
Ah.
Look at the culture that we have.
Could it be, if we're playing tinfoil hat time,
There we go.
that's just MK Ultra played out?
Could be.
Because that's what the arguments are of the blue light, the radiation,
No.
people in their 50s, 40s getting record pancreatic cancer, record, brain cancers, record numbers.
Certainly could be.
And it's now just a culmination of all that now fed into the population to make sure.
It certainly could be. I don't know. I don't think anyone truly knows.
What does your human nature instincts tell you?
That's a good question. I haven't really thought about it.
Blindly, just as a Christian, God-loving, God-fearing, American-fed cows with all kinds of hormones added to them, and
I generally get grass-fed, damn it.
not as a kid though.
That's all right.
So, what does your gut tell you? Do we have it in us to manipulate population like that, just to make sure
Sure.
that we don't have revolution?
It's possible.
You think so?
But I'm not gonna go on record and say I know this is happening.
Can I keep the tinfoil hat going just a teeny
John,
bit further?
you don't have a tinfoil hat. You have a fucking tinfoil costume on every show.
And yet, these people in Ukraine
Mm-hmm.
and Russia, and let's just highlight Israel and Gaza, don't get the same kind of food that we get. Our food is loaded with stuff. Meanwhile, in the few places that have food,
No.
they don't have as much chemicals as our food.
That's what I'm saying. You fucking.
You go to
we've
Europe.
talked about this before.
You go to Europe and you feel
Hold on. I remember talking about this and how serious of an issue this was, and you said, "No, motherfucker, it's the blue light." Yes, I agree with you. I think the food. There's some food YouTubers that have lately they've been comparing comparable products in the UK versus fucking United States, and Red 40, baby. It makes a big old difference. The amount of sugar is in our food, all the chemicals in our food.
sure
Yes, I agree with you. They feed us some fucked up shit here.
to the point where revolution's not likely going to happen.
I mean, but I also don't think it's possible in other parts of the West.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think whether they created the culture and this is the culture we're in, I don't know. But my point is that we can't speculate that. I mean, we can speculate it, but we have to be honest about that. Hey, we don't know if this is true or not.
As a betting man, my bet would be anywhere where there was
Yeah.
revolution in the Civil War. So, like, let's think Gettysburg.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say it's going to happen on the same fucking plane,
I'm not saying that either.
but I am going to go on record and say the Alamo. Remember the Alamo?
Yeah. What about it?
Some shit's probably going to happen there too.
At the actual Alamo?
Nearby, for sure.
Why do you
Because
say
there's the city has grown around it.
Well, what do you know about the Alamo?
I'm just going to go on record and say wherever there was these mass spiritual killings,
What you mean of the participants at the Alamo?
might one day repeat itself. I don't know when. Could be
But see, no,
in 100 years.
I don't like that. I don't like
500
that
years.
because
1,000 years.
because now if it happens for
a gazillion years.
if it happens 100 years from now,
You're right.
500 years.
I'm not trying to be Nostradamus. I'm just making a point.
But here's my point in responding to you. How can you? If the separation is maybe 100 years, sure, I think we could probably say there's some causation.
Two humans.
500 years, 1,000 years. I'm sorry. There's going to be other root causes that maybe this laid the foundation, but that's not certainly not the root cause.
No, I'm not saying the Alamo will be the reason.
I'm not saying the Alamo either. I'm just saying in general, whatever conflict that there is, if we're 1,000 years separated from it, I don't know if we can meaningfully say that whatever happened here in 2025 is the cause for whatever's happening in 2035 or 3035, right?
30-35.
3035 when we're long gone. Is there going to be a history? Sure. Is it a direct cause? I don't know, man. I don't think so. I'm a betting man to say no.
You don't think we'll be doing goat sacrifices anymore in Jerusalem?
I don't think so.
I think we still will be.
I don't think so.
Just like today, we still are.
I don't know. They do all sorts of funny stuff around the world, man. But who knows? Who knows? But I think if we speculating's fun, right?
1,000 years out?
1,000 years out. You think something's going to happen in 1,000 years?
Oh, hell yeah. Of course. Knowing human nature, we're going to do something fucking dumb.
Well, see, but then if you want to get into what I actually believe, what I think is going to happen, if I'm a betting man, I don't even think we make it 1,000 years.
Whoa. I think we do.
No, I don't think so.
I think we do.
I thinking about technology and what kills ourselves, I think humanity does have a window. I think all civilizations have a glass ceiling, and I don't think they break through that glass ceiling. So the Fermi paradox, maybe we've talked about on the show, begs the question why we haven't had contact with any alien. Ask the question rather why we haven't had contact with any alien species.
Well,
we'll get into that in a second. We'll get into that in a second. I didn't read the paper yet. But the question posits, hey, are we early to the show?
or are we late?
We late to the show? Or does no civilization ever make it to the show?
Or we are the show?
Well, but I mean, I guess that's the actual paradox is one of those three options.
Yeah, I know. I'm just adding the.
But then we'll have the John paradox.
Right.
We have the fourth option.
We are the show.
We are the show. I don't think so. I think the universe is too big.
Children. We are the world. I don't even know how the song goes, but whatever. You know what I mean.
Yeah. He likes the children.
That's another conspiracy.
Joking.
It's another
We'll
conspiracy.
go down
there.
the rabbit hole later. No, but so
It's a
my
Neverland
personal,
hole.
my personal feeling. Good God, my personal feeling is that we don't make it to the show. Period. And that's because humanity or civilizations will create technologies that we can't control, and that'll be the best of us. I think that's what happens. I don't know if that's AI. It certainly seems like, at least at this point in time, it could be AI. But
that's the same arguments that they were making when we were making the transition from using horses to cars. It's just like, it's the end of the world.
No, for sure. But if you look at what cars actually meant and can contribute, it changes lives for sure. It changes how humanity lives and does work.
So can AI, I think.
I'm not saying AI can't.
Yeah.
But AI is a fundamentally different technology than cars. It's a different technology than planes. This is something that, we're eventually going to create something that has a much higher capacity than us to reason any problem at a superhuman level of intelligence, that's going to be able to replicate and create itself many, many millions of times over in a single day.
Sure.
Like, that's the technology we're creating. I think you can make the argument that maybe the feelings were the same when the car came around, or the printing press, or whatever the case may be. I mean, they've been saying this for a long time. But AI, I think it has the potential to be the actual technology that can break us. I think it has the potential. And do I know? Or my honest answer is no, I'm speculating.
Yeah.
Based on my read of its capabilities, and then knowing what sort of alignment is pursued realistically. Like, they're pushing forward without pushing forward in the same direction with AI alignment.
I'll just take a page out of how animals work.
Yeah.
So usually when you see an animal that's going extinct, right, it's either their food supply is gone,
Yeah.
the environment has drastically changed,
Mm-hmm.
or they themselves have committed such wars against themselves.
Yeah.
To now there's only a few that survive. Or when you throw in humans to the example, we ate them. Or we killed them.
You say ate them?
We ate them.
Okay.
It happens.
Yeah. Sure.
So, given that, I don't think humans are going to eat each other, so that's a non-starter at this point.
Yeah.
I mean,
In small
never mind.
samples. Delicacies.
In some cults.
In some cults. Oh, funny, but before you finish, real quick to cut you off. I was in Cholula, Mexico, and there's the massive pyramid there that overgrowth took place. It's like a very old pyramid, predates the Mayans by maybe 1,000+ years. And so when the Spanish got there, it was already overgrown. No one knew it was
what it was.
what it was, and
Nothing.
it looked like just a mountain, natural mountain. And so they put the church there. And so they started excavating, because about, I think it was maybe not even 30 years ago. It was just by chance, I think one of someone, I don't know if it was a vendor, it was like a normal person, said, "Oh no, this is something a lot more," and they ended up getting permission from the Catholic Church to do the excavation, and they excavated quite a bit of it. It's not even fully excavated yet, and it's just this massive, massive pyramid. And so part of the pyramid, the ritual sites that they uncovered, they found fire pits with like human debris in there and stuff like that for the sacrifices, whatever cult lived there. But the crazy thing is they just don't have a lot of information about this particular group that lived at this particular or operated within this city structure.
Right.
And it's a huge city structure. What they do know is that they likely were around the same time as, and they were communicating with Mexico City, the Teotihuacan, the one they also don't have a lot of information on. And then also part of an extensive trade network with the civilization in Veracruz. So, just interesting sidebar. I thought that was appropriate.
Cannibals.
Cannibals.
So, which animal
What?
goes down to which fate?
Hold on.
Talking about us. And I think it's going to be the last one where we're going to just destroy one another.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I don't think it's just technology. I think it's going to get out of hand into some sort of weird spiritual thing,
Maybe.
which will cause this whole problem.
Yeah, but you add the primitive nature, right, of what we've talked about, right? I mean, you've gone on about human nature quite a bit and how it plays into these larger conflicts when we zoom out.
And like you've said before, we give this remote tribe in
Brazil
or Colombia, and they have Starlink, and give them a month, and
addicted to porn.
they're very relaxed and given into the MK Ultra experiment, and yeah, they love big booty Brazilians.
Big booty Brazilians. Oh man, this is only a couple miles away.
I gotta get out of
I
here.
gotta get out of this shanty town.
They figured out Google Earth, and now they know how to get out of here. And oh wow,
Oh, I only had to make a right at that turn? God damn, they said never go right. That's where the demons are at. They technically weren't wrong, but so they got the big booty bitches over there. No. I agree. But here goes. But you have this species, right, that has this nature. I think, as we've talked about quite a bit, coupled with the technology that we have and will have, I just don't see us making it. Yeah, I do agree. Like, it's not just the technology; it's the administration of the technology.
But I think it's also, the few rotting apples that kind of I think we know about are always on some sort of government watch. Some sort of 3-letter organization is aware of, we need to keep tabs on this person.
Yeah.
And so one way or another, they do that. And so I don't think it can get out of hand in that sense. You're trying to use an AI to help you do something, they're going to figure out what it is that you're doing, and they can put a stop to it.
Potentially. Maybe now. But
I mean, if you have
a bad
Snowden
actor,
was showing us, right? They're listening to you.
No, for sure. I think AI has a capability in the near future. The way, especially if new systems are developed, or even adversarial systems, right? Like the Chinese, I call it DeepSeek.
Chinese.
No matter, even if they steal our technology, right? Like there's going to be a little that the security apparatus can do to really keep up with those capabilities, I think.
I'm not threatened by China because
I'm just seeing them as an actor, a potential actor with a comparable system, not necessarily that they're the biggest threat.
No, but I'll be threatened and also very interested when China develops their own technology and product, because everything is always
I missed that last word.
technology and products.
Okay.
Because everything, like you said, has always been a copycat.
Yeah.
Or a copycat and then an improvement, right?
Yeah.
But it's a copycat. So the day that they start innovating fresh,
Yeah.
that's the day that you should be scared of them.
No.
Because that's what we do. We make fresh
Yeah.
out of nothing.
Yeah.
It's weird. That's how these people are. You get a mix of these Europeans with this and that.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been to New York. Or you've never been to New York.
I've been in New York.
The vibe that happens there, the constant lack of space, right, that you get, it's not for everyone.
Yeah.
And I think imagine if you're an immigrant and you come there and it's just overwhelming and you want to get out of there, you leave.
Yeah.
Versus the few that stay there in that environment, generation after generation after that's a special breed of human.
Yeah.
Because that environment is completely unique than throwing them into the hills of Arkansas
Yeah.
or in Hope.
On that note, I gotta take a break. I gotta piss.
All right. What do you think?
First, you tell me what you think. I read it. I need a break from talking.
Well, it was a conversation that I had
With who? I didn't say who at the top.
So that's
I didn't explain what it was either.
okay.
So let's start there.
Late in the evening. I think the moon was full. And Grok and I had a conversation.
Yeah.
And I was talking about, I think first it was, let's talk about what's going on with Ukraine.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Gaza, Israel. Let's talk about how Palestine and the Rothschild family are connected.
Mm-hmm.
The Balfour Agreement
Yeah.
and the ownership of land, title, and then the war machine that the U.S. has been a part of since its foundation, becoming, amassing us to become an empire when we're the war supplier for World War I and World War II.
Mm-hmm.
And I then was asking it to then see the connection with occult sacrifices
Yeah.
dating back to
Mesopotamia.
not only, but also, the Aztecs, the Mayan, everything, as far back as you can think. Every culture at some point had some sort of sacrifice for the gods. Mythology, right? And then I said, okay, write everything that we've kind of weaved into this conversation into like a general essay.
Yeah.
And it took maybe about 3 or 4 tries to get it to be what that is. Because a lot of it was based off of the conversation that we had. And I said, no, imagine that somebody's never had the conversation that we had.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was throwing the blame on me. And I said, no, just give it to me straight. Give me a compelling college level essay about what we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
And what can you draw from it? And what can you tell me that this tells us about our human nature?
Yeah.
And these kind of unknown knowns
Mm-hmm.
that we're also going for when we have war. That's what I was asking it.
Now, what does it mean to you?
That's the human nature. Like,
Yeah.
that's the oldest story. Like, that's what the Bible is about. That's what Jesus is about.
Yeah.
Sacrificing himself, right? For the sin of others.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about, baby. Virgin blood.
But what do you... No, okay, so obviously it was based on a conversation you had. What do you make of its conclusions that it draws? Its comparisons? I mean, do you buy everything it says?
It's I think it's spot on.
Yeah.
I think I led it down that path to understanding, like, all these things are connected.
Mm-hmm.
And to think that they are not is to not look at what living on this planet means.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you believe in karma, if you believe in good and evil, then this world has to exist. Because that's what it's all about.
That's a good way to put it. It's definitely an interesting read. Is the comparison, I think, is that war is just a tradition, a ritualistic tradition that we do, blood sacrifice. I think that's a pretty interesting way to look at it, for sure. That, I don't think a lot of people think about. But I mean, it goes back to, like you said, a lot of ancient tribes and civilizations. Not even ancient. The Aztecs aren't very old.
Today.
Yeah. I mean, but I'm saying, specifically, like, I think most people wouldn't make that connection, right? Like,
Yeah.
most people wouldn't see the conflicts today as ritualistic wars.
Right.
Whereas the Aztecs, by comparison, they had very ritualistic wars with the whole purpose of going to war with other tribes to collect, basically, human sacrifices and things of that nature, right? I think those are much more explicit examples of war as ritual.
Yeah.
And I don't think most people make the connection that war today is ritualistic in the same way. But you're making an argument that it is. And so I think that's interesting.
Just like how Russia wants Ukraine.
Yeah.
And one of the deep underlying reasons is because the monarchy that ends up becoming the czars of Russia come from Ukraine.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's to say we are these people.
And they are us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they are saying we are not you. And we don't stand for it.
Are either wrong? I mean, historically speaking, right? You can make the case that Russia's correct in that assessment. But you could also make the case that, just as the article says, the essay, it's the gods of sovereignty. Ukraine has a claim of sovereignty from Russia based on maps and borders that were created long after whatever historical connection between the two started. So I think both have... I don't agree with Russia's implementation, right? But
Sure.
if Russia says fundamentally, like, hey, Ukraine is us and we are Ukraine, we're all one people. I mean, obviously, how they administer that is going to be, and how they prosecute those beliefs are separate.
Yeah.
But if that's the guiding principle, I also don't think, historically speaking, it's, you could say, Slavic peoples originated in Kiev, and Russia's claiming that they're the home of the Slavs, right, or home of Slavic people. I'm not saying I agree with it, but it is to say they have a claim there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how they administer that claim is totally different. But then, who's right, who's wrong? Who knows? Neither are right, neither are wrong.
That's the war that goes on.
No. But it also makes me feel like makes me feel that truthfully, if that's truly the nature, because I think there's two arguments being made here. Number one, this this inclination towards the occult and sacrificing in the name of the occult, whatever that occult is, right? In this case, we're talking ritualistic sacrifice in the context of war, right? We're saying that's a part of our nature, right? I would say most people, when you argue that something's a part of your nature, it's immutable. You don't really have a choice of it. But the article, or the essay rather, ends saying, no, this is a choice. So can you fundamentally change the nature?
Right.
And if something is a part of our nature, is there really a good or evil in that sense?
And then in religion has its tenets that completely are in conflict with the tenets of war.
Sure.
Right? And so that's part of that battle.
But I guess my question is like what really good or evil is just a matter of context in this example, right? Because if you're Israel, you could say what we're doing is fundamentally good. If you're Gaza, you could say what Israel is doing is fundamentally evil.
Right.
Right. But both are going to be separate, different perspectives on any given example, right?
But
or if, same with Russia. Russia feels that it's prosecuting a just war in the name of its people, right? Because one of the justifications is that there's Nazis in Ukraine, and therefore we need to free our people, the Slavic people, of these Nazis, right? Obviously, that's not the view of the Ukrainian people, broadly speaking. So, in this context, if it's a part of our nature, is either side wrong? I mean, I think me as a thinking person, sure, I think I'm going to try to attribute blame or try to attribute a moral judgment on or moral value on something, right, of good or evil. But I think if we're looking at this as a part of our nature and it's an immutable characteristic, this is the way the game is played since before we can even we're ever even a thought. Is it really evil? Is it really good or evil? Is it all just a matter of perspective? It's an interesting question.
Well, one's invading, and that's the big difference.
Not necessarily.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, as I agree with you, but again, it's a matter of perspective, right? If Russia is invading Ukraine and they have, in what their mind is a logical reason and is a justifiable reason, right? If we're saying this is a part of our nature, these ritualistic sacrifices, what we do. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it could be wrong from a point of view, sure.
But there's a reason why these sacrifices are made.
Why?
Because that's what gives you power.
Okay.
You see?
But again, I agree with that 100%. But if the pursuit of power is a part of our nature and sacrificing is that, what's any different? That's just the way the game is played.
So then, but that then parallels abuse of others, abuse of
but again,
innocent.
again using this model, right?
Yeah.
That's part of the ritualistic sacrifice.
Right.
So if this is our nature, by nature, what we do, right, it doesn't have a value judgment. Can you blame a lion for being a lion?
Right.
Right?
Can you blame the priest for being a pedophile?
Because that's different. We're talking about the war. I think,
but that's the sacrifice of innocence.
Sure.
That's the power of spirit and spiritual power. And that's part of what that is. That's what all of this is.
I don't know if I'll give you that on the. I think those are the hideous actions of individual people.
But it's been happening for thousands of years since the creation of the church, because this is
Yeah.
part of the occult.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
And so since this is part of that ritual and things that they do,
Yeah.
because that's where you get power,
Yeah.
like think of what Monsters, Inc. is all about, like as a movie,
Mm-hmm.
right? What is it about conceptually?
I mean, they're trying to
These
scare people to gain energy.
Creatures
Yeah.
get energy from the fear
Yeah.
of children.
Yeah.
And that's conceptually what it is that we're saying happens here.
Yeah.
From the death, and in that case of abuse, it's a specific kind of fear,
Yeah.
gives the other person energy.
Mm-hmm.
It's sick,
Yeah.
but that's what we're saying. And that's part of that human nature. That's part
Okay.
of how that pyramid of power
Yeah.
gets formed.
Okay. So
Because not
Hold on,
everybody.
Hold on. Again, just kind of wrestling through this. I don't agree with the model. I'm going to say that very clearly.
Okay.
But, I mean, not fully. I think there's a lot to be said about the ritualism and the sacrifice and power, things like that. But, again, I was sticking on the context of war for a second. If by its very nature, right? If that's the argument that's being made, I don't think you can attribute any blame, right? Because there is only power. When you only have power, I think you lose morality.
No, but you need that power to do what it is that you're trying to do.
Sure.
So you need the death, sacrifice, and destruction of the Gaza people, not just the terrorists,
Yeah.
so that you can now take over the whole land.
Yeah.
That's the sacrifice of sacrificing the goat and the lamb,
Yeah.
so that you can bleed it, and through that blood has now had a special kind of spiritual casting
Yeah.
that makes it valuable to the conqueror.
Okay.
Right?
Sure.
So-
I'm
and-
I'm not saying you're wrong, but what I am saying is, how do you attribute a moral claim to that? Because you're saying, well, there's the innocents that are taken on it. But at every point in world history, whatever conflict there is, whatever side of the conflict you are, the victim becomes a perpetrator. This is a cycle, right? So I don't agree with what I'm. This is just.
What do you mean
thought.
the victim becomes a perpetrator?
Well, we've talked about, right, in many instances throughout
Revolt?
history. No. Let's say, for example, you have one group of people who, from an international conflict, was the undecided or the clearly unanimous victim of that conflict, say the Holocaust, right? If now, based on this formula where we're at now, as the victims, now they in your mind with the whole Gaza conflict are now the perpetrators. Is that fair? Sure. So, but that's just cycle, man. That happens all the time throughout. We have many examples where countries who maybe were the victims in a particular conflict now becomes the perpetrators in other conflicts. It's like that's pretty commonplace. So, but what I'm saying is again, just to play devil's advocate and using the model from that paper, is that really there is no good or evil in that. There's only the pursuit and power. So we can say that someone's pursuit of power, we can say it's evil, but if we're saying that's a part of the nature, I don't think there is any good or evil claim that can be made of that. Right? Like, from a point of view, what Israel's doing is right. From the Gaza point of view, what Israel's doing is wrong. But at the same time, you have, through history of conquest, right? If we're talking about conquest, there's been so many different conquests of that region for many, many centuries from different people. So it's just if we want to call it what it is a cycle, right? And I don't know either the past or the present. If we're using that as a framework, I don't think you can make any sort of moral claim to it and say it's good or evil. It's all about the pursuit of power. And if it's a part of our nature, we don't crush the nature of a lion being a lion or an elephant being an elephant.
So then it's going to continue happening.
Sure. Yeah. If that's what the ritualistic, because that's the issue, the contradiction in the paper, right? Is that we can choose something different. I don't think we can if that's our nature. If this is the claim that what we're doing is a part of our nature, how do you make that? How do you make that decision to get past that, right?
You have to fundamentally have the human change.
But how do you fundamentally have a human change? That's the $1 billion question. I don't know. Maybe it's through an advent of technology and a continued evolution with technology. You get some sort of mass cyborg that can achieve sort of utopia.
Right.
That's a possibility. But I don't know. And that's the $1 billion question.
Or
uh-oh. Or you ask AI. Is that Nirvana?
Sipping whiskey from a paper cup. Drown your sorrows till you can't stand up.
There you go.
Take a look at what you've done to yourself. Why don't you put the Bible back on the shelf?
I love it.
but that's the irony, right?
How so? He's got the answer.
And a lot of blood, destruction.
Yeah. That song is fucking bitchin'. It's a good song. Yeah, I mean, it slaps like any other like late 60s, 70s song.
Rock.
Yeah, it's a good. It reminds me of CCR. But at first I heard it because the volume was low on my end, so I couldn't really tell it. I was thinking it was a Nirvana song. But yeah, I don't know what the answer to that is, man. You know,
There is no answer.
that.
It's just whoever wants the conquesting power the most.
But that's what I guess that's my point. Is that so? I do think there are good and evil, right? I think killing people indiscriminately is evil, but from looking at the broader picture, as we've talked about ad nauseum, dude, this is a part of our existence, right? And I think as an individual, we can say, I obviously unequivocally, I think fucking priests following kids is wrong, right? Murder is wrong. Like, all these are fundamental truths. But I think that's what, obviously, I mean, you've alluded to it. I'm a Christian, so I think, you know, part of Christianity anyways, maybe outside of some of the institutional traditions, right? I think really at the end of the day, part of some of those beliefs is that we are fundamentally flawed as humans, and, you know, we're sinners by nature, right? And so, again, through sacrifice, we're redeemed.
Mm-hmm. So your soul can be saved,
Correct.
for eternal salvation.
Correct.
So that's a whole other
We don't have to get into it.
but that's spiritual quandary here.
My point, though, and we can talk about the spiritual quandary on another pod, because that's just going to take us to 5-hour podcast.
5-hour Pastakistan.
Yeah.
Here we go.
I mean, I guess that's my point, man. It's like, I think there is good and evil, but I think our nature, by the virtue of our nature, is fundamentally power seeking.
I disagree.
You disagree?
I think it's a choice. It's a choice for you to want to seek that power. And so
Sure.
if you want that power, that's when you start doing evil.
But think about, even in our own lives, like, we're always trying to pursue power, even on the smallest levels.
No. See, but that's wrong.
How's it wrong?
So if that's your instinct to want to do that,
Uh-huh.
then that's your battle to then figure out how can I change to be a better human for other people. Because otherwise you become...
Okay, but then this goes against the whole argument of the paper, right?
No, the paper is saying that when you want that power,
Yeah.
you have to commit these atrocities
But
to get that power.
Isn't that want and desire for that power anyways? Like, that's a
But-
uniquely human attribute?
Yes, but Brian,
Sure.
what I'm saying is it's then the choice
Mm-hmm.
to not give in to those instincts,
Yeah.
to not do that.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? You see there's a bunch of money here.
Yeah.
The person who owns it walks away.
Yeah.
Do you touch it? Do you take it? Do you assess the situation and say, oh, this person must have lots of it
Mm-hmm.
based off of where I'm at? I'll just take it. They won't even notice.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah.
Versus, it's not mine. Not even going to touch it. Not
Yeah.
even going to bother. That's the good and evil that you as a human have the godlike power to deal with.
Okay.
More so than any other creature.
Yeah.
And so you get all these daily tests, if you will. And a good pastor will tell you that that's your spiritual test and that's God communicating to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm here to say, no, that's literally your choice to decide, am I going to be good?
Mm-hmm.
Good in the sense of I'm going to treat other people equally,
Yeah.
or bad and do evil and wreak havoc and make things hard and complicated and make sacrifice, like all of that. That's choice.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
Could be environment, could be, but in the end, bottom line, it is a instinctual choice to say one or the other.
Yeah.
Because you have choices. You're given all these choices. And
That's
so
correct.
you can choose. So it is a choice that then whatever you decide literally leads downstream
Sure.
to other things.
I absolutely agree with that.
And that's the symbiosis with sacrifice. You want rain. In some societies, in some cultures, they'd sacrifice the virgin
Mm-hmm.
so that they can get rain, so they can get the benefit, the power of the water. The most precious nutrient. What's the most precious nutrient
Let me ask you this.
in
Hold
the
on.
human soul?
Water.
Blood.
Oh.
And so in the ancient world, that's part of that divine connection. Which is why when you go to church,
Mhm.
when they baptize you, what do they use? They don't use blood, they use
Water.
water. And in some cases, depending on, what alphabet soup of religion you're choosing, it might be holy water, it might be blessed water, it might be oil water, it might be...
Yeah.
But that's now leading into the occult. Those are occult bases to give you that extra oomph, power.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you have your faith in a God in that sense
Yeah.
in the first place.
So I see what you're saying, and I agree with a lot of it. I think you're right, absolutely right. There is a choice that people are faced with every single day. The difference, though, is if you say, hey, this is a sacrifice of the village virgin so we can get rain, I think it's a little bit different.
No,
Yeah.
it's not.
But yes, it is, because if rain is symbolic for a lot of things, it's your crops, it's your livelihood. We're sacrificing one person for this perception that maybe we're going to be able to feed the entire village.
Mm-hmm.
That's certainly different than making a decision between do I steal this money or I don't. Because there's a
But it's
community benefit there
Sure, but
that
it's-
doesn't exist when you just have the items like that. So how do you distinguish that?
That's culture.
Okay.
Okay. And so modern day,
Yeah.
not literally killing the virgin, getting rid of her, and bye, sorry, Maria.
No.
Are we on out of space now?
What happened? Still on. Oh, stop recording.
Maria.
All right. After a brief technical delay, what's going on?
Maria.
Jesus.
No, I'm saying it is similar. This is what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
The modern day notion, let's say in Christianity and Catholicism, is Lent. What's Lent? 40 days that you're giving up something.
Yeah.
You're sacrificing something. And when you do that, you're going to get a greater power because it's now a reflection of not having.
Mm-hmm.
That's the cycle. That's the benefit. And that's what a lot of these occult spiritual teachings are trying to get you to understand.
Yeah.
And at the highest of highest levels, like with these sorts of religions that we're covering, these big major ones, you're giving up your soul for eternal salvation.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Sure.
So it's a very normal spiritual battle
Uh-huh.
that you get to go through daily when you're dealing with other people.
But then, okay, I'll let you finish.
Because like you were saying earlier, there are sometimes classes that you have to take so that you can have a better, greater empathy for other people that have other beliefs that are different than you. That's something
In the
that you have
context
to
of a school.
that you have to learn.
Yeah.
But that's true in every aspect with everyone, and not everybody's going to do that.
Okay, so I'm guess I'm having trouble understanding your position then.
Okay.
Because I think a part of our conversation is, at least the last few pods, has always been like, hey, this is part of a greater story of our nature, right? But then you're saying that it doesn't have to be a decision that we make. Like, we can actively choose to do something different
Right.
in any part of our lives, whether it's from the smallest decision that might make today if we see $10 on the road versus global, conflict, right?
But that's someone who's, dare I say, awake.
What do you mean?
Like they've woken up to understanding that there is that fundamental choice.
Uh-huh.
Instead of living in the normal cycle of life, of believing they don't have a choice, which is when you go all the way to the extreme,
Mm-hmm.
right? Of saying, I have nothing, I can't do anything, I have all the student debt, nothing, I'm strapped, right?
Yeah.
Emptiness. Do you see what I'm saying? Like,
But, okay, wouldn't that be the default then?
it is the default, and so it's being able to break away from the default,
So
from becoming greater than.
perfect. So what manner do people break away?
Paying attention, trying to understand why and how things happen.
Yeah.
And so it's all a choice, and not everyone's going to see it. Not everybody's going to pay attention. Other people that are in that sense.
But see, then that's where I would say, if that's our default, I would argue that's our nature. That's our nature. No, hold on. That is our nature. Our nature is by default to go along with the struggle of power. No good or evil, just power. Whether that's in our own daily lives. I think, unfortunately, people, they make decisions that benefit them, right? And I think if someone steals money off the ground, right, and takes that money and they rationalize why they did it, I mean, they can make all sorts of good rationales, like, well, I actually really need it,
Right.
right? I think that's the default, because people are going to rationalize why they did a certain action to themselves, and so on. And it goes all the way up to this global conflict.
But isn't
My point, though, okay, what was your question?
but isn't that what Jesus is teaching you? Like, you are all gods.
No,
And so you all
absolutely
have
not. Mm-mm.
What do you mean no?
God, Christ's teaching doesn't teach that we are all gods.
Yes.
No, it doesn't.
The light is within you.
It's not saying we are all gods. No, it's
What is
not.
the light?
The light is that there's redemption in what your actions, that you can move away from some of the from what our nature is. Now,
So if we're saying that, right?
I don't think any of Christ's teachings saying we are all gods. That's not true.
Gods in the sense of you can literally destroy another human.
Where? You're going to have to quote that for me.
I'd have to pull up ancient Greek. We'd have to go through the ancient Greek.
But okay, John, my point is that I think by default we are who we are, right? I think you're right. We have to make a conscious decision to do the right thing. We have to work against our nature to do those things.
Isn't that what they say? Like, made in the image of God? We're made in the image of God?
Sure, but that doesn't make us gods.
What does made in the image of mean versus... So it's semantics.
It's not a semantic. It's not.
Follow the logic all the way through, and you see it's semantical. Because what it's telling you is you have the power to do destruction, but to also do good.
Mm-hmm.
That is your godlike ability. That's your choice. That's what you have. That's the light.
I think having that choice, though, is not a godlike ability. It's not saying this is God. Yes, you have the power to do something evil, and you also have the power to do something good.
Right.
I would argue that in Christ's teaching, God is all good, all knowing, all those things, right?
So is it also all evil?
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. My point, though, is that having that free will to make those decisions is something that is given, but I don't think it makes us godlike. If that makes sense.
To me, it is.
I don't think so.
And so
that's a theological debate. I don't.
So when we see child predators, when we see abuse, war, all that,
Mm-hmm.
that's that expressive power in the evil. That's what you see.
Mm-hmm.
Just like when you see amazing, good miracles, incredible stories.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, just on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
Both are true. And we are the ones that are doing it. It's nothing or no one else. No other entity is on top of it doing it.
Yeah.
We are the ones doing it. And so until we all wake up and recognize that, then we're all living under whoever else has that power
Mm-hmm.
over the entire population.
Sure.
That's the argument. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. I mean, it's interesting for sure. It's a lot to unpack. It's just, I think we have different ways to get to the same conclusion. Right? You say waking up, right? What does that mean?
Realizing your actions have consequences.
So some people, are they never to wake up? Is that predetermined?
I don't think so. I think it's all a choice. And most people aren't aware that it's a choice.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of the reason why they give you that Catholic Christian doctrine of telling you you're going to sin and you're born to sin. You were born from sin. Like that's the concept they give you. That's the easiest way to get you to understand, oh, so we have problems from the get.
Yeah.
So I'm always going to be fucked up. I'm always going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
I mean, that's essentially what it's telling you. It's for you to make those good decisions, right? That makes you live more in the likeness and image of God, to use some churches' throwaway line.
Mm-hmm.
But that's kind of what they're trying to tell you without really telling you.
Yeah.
That's what I believe. I'm not a person who's saying, because of this, then this, because of that, then this. No, it's we have that choice to make that a this in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And it's in that renaissance that all of Europe woke up and then decided we're going to take over again.
Yeah.
Because before that, the church was everything is quiet. The
Yeah.
Dark Ages.
Yeah.
It's now, once you know about the Enlightenment, about the ancient Greek, about the ancient Roman, about the occult,
Yeah.
to now you get new light. Right? That's
Yeah.
why it's called the Enlightenment.
I like how you emphasize that part.
Tis what it is.
Tis what it is. I think on that note, let's wrap this up.
All right.
Any closing thoughts?
Yeah, always treat other people like you want to expect to be treated. Because if you
But
don't,
what if you want to be treated like absolute dog shit?
then live your life that way, and that's what you'll get.
Yeah, I'm just messing.
Guaranteed.
True, very true.
So,
I know. I think you're right, man. I think
in spite of what happens, in spite of the chaos that ensures that life brings you, the challenges,
yeah,
the droughts, if you have to, that's the having the faith part.
yeah,
And so for some people, they need to have a faith in a complete other deity.
yeah,
Other people, they can have faith in themselves.
yeah,
But it's all a choice to make that decision of how in the end do you want to treat people in spite of whatever's going on.
yeah. It's a good takeaway. It's a good message.
So it's not about my religion's better than yours. Or,
Yeah,
you got it all wrong. And this is part of that revolution. This is part of that enlightenment.
yeah,
And it's understanding that to then you wake up. You get it, huh? There's tons of versions of the Bible. That makes sense.
No, I think that's a good place to end it, man. I think overall, man, I think the message is clear. Like everyone should treat people kindly, or exactly like you said, just treat people how you'd want to be treated. I've always had a barometer that at work, especially, treat people how I would want them to treat my grandpa or my grandma or something like that as they're dealing with whatever mess. And being empathetic towards others is, I think, the way to go, for sure. And you see a lot more positive attributes in your life, and you see the fruits that come with that, of just being someone who's caring for others, and not even just caring for others, just being kind to others. A quote that lives with me constantly is, and it's a reminder, is to always remember to treat people kindly and make them feel good in that moment, because it's the Maya Angelou quote. People aren't going to remember anything you say, but they'll remember how you made them feel. And I think there's so much truth in that, because I remember there's a lot of people who I, growing up, I either remember fondly or remember, with a lot of anger. And it's not because I remember exactly what they did, but I remember what sort of behavior they had towards me and how that made me feel in the moment. And unfortunately, some of the worst ones are, some of the strongest feelings are the ones where you have negative reactions or
Always.
negative experiences.
Always.
But then, when you think about someone who really positively impacted you, maybe just how they give you the time of day, it's definitely, that's strong too. And I think that's what we should strive for every day, is just try to make people in our daily lives, just try to make people feel good, because you don't know what other people are going through, like in their normal daily lives. So it's good to maybe be that beacon for someone without them even really knowing.
Right.
So good place to end it.
Hopefully.
Until next time on the Below the Trees podcast. This has been the Below the Trees podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Another hot debate and good conversation with my good friend John over here. So thank you for tuning in. Do all the normal YouTube things. If you've got anything of value from this conversation, then please like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you think. I promise you, we will read it. We will read the single comments that come in, if you're so brave enough to enter the forum. Other than that, we'll see you on the next one. This is Below the Trees.
And then he journeyed to Pennsylvania, where he spent like a month and a half campaigning for me in Pennsylvania. And he's a popular guy, and he was very effective. And he knows those computers better than anybody, all those computers, those vote counting computers. And we ended up winning Pennsylvania like in a landslide, so it was pretty good. It was pretty good. So thank you to Elon.